This is Geometry Lesson 9.2. It's more work with the Pythagorean Theorem. It's still in the Pythagorean Theorem unit. There are three different types of triangles that we're going to be working with in this first section. We need to determine what type of triangle a set of numbers represents. So before we do this, what I would like you to make note of is that this is a really important thing to include on a cheat sheet. Or to study before the test. There's three rules that you kind of have to keep track of, and it's hard to memorize, but you'll just pretty much need to memorize them or put them on a cheat sheet. So first, the rule about right triangles. Again, right triangles look like this. They have a 90-degree angle. The rule that we've been using is that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So the two legs squared are the same as the hypotenuse squared. So that's nothing new, that's Pythagorean theorem. Now, if a triangle is acute, what's going to happen is a squared plus b squared compared to c squared is not going to be equal. In this case, what will happen is the combination of the two legs will be greater than the hypotenuse. An acute triangle, again, looks like this, where all the angles are less than 90 degrees. The third option is an obtuse triangle. An obtuse triangle looks like this, where there's one huge angle. What happens with an obtuse triangle is a squared plus b squared compared to c squared. The two legs are less than the hypotenuse alone, because this hypotenuse, or the third side, the longest side, is so big because it has to pass over that giant angle. So if one side is bigger than the combination of two, then you have an obtuse triangle. So these are your three options. Again, you're going to want to write those down somewhere. So to practice, the first thing we want to do is establish which one of these is C. One thing to remember is that C is always the longest side. So this is our C value because that's the longest of the three. So what we do is we say 8 squared plus 9 squared, and then we're going to compare it to 11 squared. Do not put an equal sign here. Do not, because we don't know if it's equal. This is 64 plus 81. This is 121. 64 plus 81 is, I believe, 145, but let me just double check. Yes, 145. Now, the alligator would eat this one. That means that the two sides were longer. This is an acute triangle because of that last statement. For the next one, this would be C because it's the longest side. So we get 10 squared plus 11 squared, and we're going to compare it to 18 squared. 10 squared is 100 plus 121, and 18 squared is 324. This is 221 compared to 324. The alligator would eat that one long side. One side was huge. It beat two sides. So that means this is an obtuse triangle. If you want to pause the video and try this next one yourself, you can. Otherwise, I will do it. This one is going to be our C because it's the biggest. So we'll have 24 squared and 10 squared compared to 26 squared. This is 576. This is 100. And this is 676. This side is equal to 676. So is this. Because they are equal, that means this is a right triangle. It's all based on what happens here at the end.